Okay, so today we're diving deep into Kelsea Ballerini and like how her views on relationships have totally like changed, especially after her divorce and now with Chase Stokes. It's pretty fascinating to see how her idea of love and partnership has shifted and also how she really focuses on communication and growing together within a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, what's really interesting is that we're going to look at how like these huge life events, especially the tough ones, can totally like reshape how we see love. And Kelsey's story really gives us this like unique perspective on this whole evolution thing.
Totally. One thing that she's talked about is how her parents' divorce when she was 12 really impacted her. It seems like that experience kind of set the stage for how she saw like stable and healthy relationships early on.
Yeah, well, in psychology, we talk about how these formative experiences, especially with our family, totally shape our relationship patterns. Seeing a marriage fall apart can definitely change your expectations about relationships when you become an adult. Like, do you think that early experience might have led Kelsey to have like a more anxious attachment style at first?
That's a really good point. And it does seem like what she thought about love before is so different from what she's saying now. She describes her current relationship with Chase as like practical and steady, which is kind of different from those like fairy tale ideas we often have about romance. Do you think this shift to a more realistic view of love came from going through that divorce?
Yeah, probably. As we mature, and especially after going through the ups and downs of a serious relationship and then a breakup, we tend to see love in a more practical way. While those initial sparks and passion are important, a relationship needs something more for the long haul, right? It needs effort and realistic expectations.
Right, and speaking of effort, she really emphasized how important it is to actively work on a relationship. She even said that going to therapy with Chase is like the sexiest thing ever. That's a pretty bold statement. What do you think that says about how she sees relationships now?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Thinking of therapy as something that strengthens a relationship instead of a last resort shows that they're both mature, really committed to growing together. It shows they're willing to be vulnerable, to face challenges head on, and to really prioritize their relationship. That kind of effort is super attractive, and it's like the foundation for a long-lasting relationship.
And she made a really important point that it's not just about the we, but also about the me in the we, right? Like, how important is it to focus on individual effort as well as the effort you put in as a couple?
Well, it's totally crucial. A healthy relationship isn't about two halves making a whole, but it's about two whole people supporting each other's growth and facing life together. So emphasizing both individual and mutual effort means each person takes responsibility for their own well-being and what they bring to the relationship.
So to understand how her view of love has changed, we need to look at her previous relationship with Morgan Evans. They were married for almost 5 years, announced their divorce in August 2022, and it was finalized pretty quickly in November of the same year. That quick turnaround makes you wonder what was really going on.
Yeah, it does make you think. While we can't know for sure sometimes when a divorce goes from announcement to final that fast, it means that decisions were made before they told everyone, or that they both agreed it was over, even if it was hard.
And Kelsea poured all those emotions from that time into her 6-song EP, Rolling Up the Welcome Mat, which came out in February 2023. It seems like a really raw and honest expression of what she went through. Do you think creating that music helped her heal?
For sure. Especially for a songwriter like Kelsea. Can be this powerful way to deal with tough life events. Music lets you express those complicated and painful emotions that are hard to talk about. It's a way to be vulnerable and honest, which can be both healing for the artist and really connect with people who listen to it.
Her mom even said how cathartic the songwriting was for her and how much real pain was behind it. She said listening to those early versions was tough, but it was clearly how Kelsea was processing everything.
It really shows how much the divorce affected her and how important her music was in helping her heal. It shows just how honest and real her songwriting is.
But, Morgan Evans responded to the EP with his own song, Over For You, and a statement that suggested her side of the story wasn't the whole picture. It just shows how two people can have such different experiences in the same relationship and breakup, right?
Yeah, that happens a lot in divorces. Everyone has their own perspective and story. The fact that Morgan responded with his own song means he also needed to share his side and work through his emotions through music, which makes the whole thing even more complex.
And Kelsea's been open about feeling disconnected and resentful in the marriage. She mentioned years of couples therapy and even sleeping on the couch. It sounds like they were struggling for a long time.
Yeah, those details definitely suggest that the divorce wasn't a sudden decision. Years of couples therapy means they tried hard to fix things, but eventually decided to end it. And sleeping separately shows how their intimacy and connection had broken down.
And it seems like dividing their stuff was a problem too. She talked about the Nashville house, saying she paid for most of it and that Evan expected half the money from selling it. Money issues can make a tough situation even worse, right?
Totally. Figuring out finances in a divorce is often really complicated and emotional, especially when people disagree about how much each person contributed financially. Prenuptial agreements are supposed to make it clear, but arguments can still happen.
And she directly addressed and criticized Evan, saying he acted like he was blindsided by the divorce in his song, which wasn't her experience at all. It seems like they had very different ideas about how things ended.
It just shows how different the stories can be after a breakup. Kelsey's response means she felt like Morgan's version wasn't accurate, and they didn't see eye to eye on what happened.
But even with all that, Evans did publicly ask people to be kind to everyone involved, including Kelsey, which is a good thing to remember in a tough situation like this.
It is. Asking for kindness, even when he was going through something so public, shows that he cared about how their separation affected everyone and wanted people to be compassionate.
Okay, so let's move on to her relationship with Chase Stokes. They started dating in December 2022, about a month after her divorce was final. It's interesting that she actually messaged him first on Instagram. That's how people connect these days.
Yeah, social media has totally changed how we start relationships. It breaks down barriers and lets you directly reach out to someone you're interested in. It's a whole new way of finding love.
And they met in person at a friend's birthday party in LA, and she said she felt a connection right away. She even called herself a heart-first girl who trusts her gut, which clearly led her to pursue this relationship. How important is intuition, especially after a tough relationship?
It can be really powerful to trust your intuition, especially after a breakup. It means you're learning from the past and paying attention to your feelings when you meet new people.
She used some interesting words to describe their dynamic, like having golden retriever energy with a little bite and both being incredibly driven. It seems like she sees real compatibility in their personalities and goals. What do you make of that?
Those descriptions tell us a lot about their relationship. Golden retriever energy might mean they're both warm, enthusiastic, and loyal, while a little bite could mean they have a shared sense of humor or a playful side. And being incredibly driven suggests they understand and support each other's ambitions, which is so important for long-term compatibility.
And she mentioned that Chase isn't her complete opposite, which she said was the case in some of her past relationships. Why do you think that change in what she's attracted to is significant?
We're often drawn to people who have qualities we don't, which can be exciting at first. But for a relationship to last, you need shared values, similar outlooks and personalities that complement each other rather than clash. So recognizing that difference with Chase could mean she's figured out what she needs and what makes a relationship work long term.
And she shared her EP rolling up the welcome mat with him pretty early on, which was a vulnerable move. What does that say about their trust and what she wants from the relationship?
Sharing something so personal and emotional that early on shows a lot of trust and a desire to be open. It gave Chase important context about her recent experiences and helped him understand her past, which could have made their bond even stronger from the start.
And it seems like supporting each other's creative careers is a big part of their connection. They genuinely appreciate each other's work and are totally supportive of each other's choices. How important is that when both people are in demanding creative fields?
Oh, it's essential. When you're in a creative field, it's amazing to have a partner who gets it. Someone who supports you through the ups and downs and understands the unique pressures. That kind of support is so stabilizing and strengthening for a relationship.
She even said they're like mirrors for each other, pointing out each other's strengths and areas to work on. And they want to grow together as a couple to become hotter, funnier, and more ambitious, the best versions of themselves. That shared vision for the future seems like a sign of commitment.
Being mirrors for each other means they help each other reflect and encourage personal growth. And setting goals together shows they're committed to evolving both individually and as a couple. It's a proactive and engaged way to build their relationship.
And Chase has been really public about supporting Kelsey's career. He went to her Patterns tour and even wrote this sweet Instagram post after her sold-out show at Madison Square Garden. Those public displays of support mean a lot.
Yeah, they do. Celebrating your partner's achievements publicly shows you're proud and involved in their life. For someone famous, knowing their partner is a cheerleader can be really affirming and good for the relationship.
And they haven't been shy about their relationship either. They made their first public appearance together at the CMT Awards in April 2023, and they're all over each other's social media. That openness shows they're comfortable and confident in their connection, right?
It definitely does. Sharing their relationship publicly can be a way to normalize it and celebrate it authentically without hiding. It also shows they're on the same page about how they want to present their relationship to the world.
And Chase has said that hiding relationships feels fake to him, and that it's natural to want to celebrate your partner's wins openly. They both seem to value being real in how they show their relationship to the public.
Yeah, he wants real connection, not just with his partner, but also with the public.
Yeah.
Not hiding your relationship often means you have a lot of trust and respect, which lets you be more authentic and open about your bond.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it's clear that Kelsea Ballerini's journey teaches us a lot about how our ideas about love and relationships can change, especially after tough times. Her focus on honest communication, the work it takes to grow both individually and together, and finding a healthier, more supportive partnership after her divorce is really inspiring.
For sure, Kelsea being so open about her past and current relationships shows us how learning from experience can lead to a more realistic and ultimately more fulfilling view of what a strong, healthy relationship really is. It highlights the importance of being vulnerable, putting in the effort and finding a connection based on mutual support and real self-expression.
It really gets you thinking. Take a minute to think about what makes a strong and fulfilling relationship for you. How important are open communication and supporting each other's growth in your ideal relationship? It's definitely food for thought after learning about Kelsea's experiences.
And one thing that struck me is how Kelsea seems to really value that stability now. Like, she's found someone who just gets her and celebrates her wins without drama. I think a lot of people can relate to that longing for a secure base in a relationship.
Totally. And it goes back to that idea of evolving. Maybe in your 20s, you're drawn to excitement and passion. But as you grow and experience more, you start to appreciate those quieter, more solid qualities like trust, respect, and just feeling truly seen and understood by your partner.
Right. It's like she's traded those fireworks for a warm, steady fire. And that can be so much more comforting and ultimately fulfilling in the long run.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and be sure to tune in next time as we explore another fascinating topic.
I'm looking forward to it. See you all then.